So what's this then? This is the BMW iX1 eDrive20, and today we're going to give it the full electric sound because it's totally electric. Welcome to Totally Electric, where we talk about sustainable mobility and we test drive electric cars. And when we do that, we score them according to 8 categories. Each category has its own weight. We add it all up together and we give it a final score between 0 and 100. And that's what we're going to do today with the BMW iX1. So the BMW iX1 is based on the exact same car as the X1 from BMW. You know, they have this flexible platform where they have a combustion car and an electric car, and they're basically the same except for the drivetrain. In this case, the iX1 is available in 2 versions, the eDrive20 and the eDrive30. This is the eDrive20, the entry-level car. And the price is actually quite reasonable. It starts at 46,000. However, as you know, BMW, you need to buy some extras, some packages of different stuff. And that brings it up, in this case, to 56,000 euros. At least I think that's what the price is. The configurator on the website and the information from the dealer is quite confusing, and it's not easy to find out how much this car actually is unless I actually go and try to buy it. Now this looks like a massive car, but it is really not. It's only 4 meters 50 long, so it'll fit in any parking, and it's a delight to drive around in that way. In the back we find a very practical lift gate that I can just put my foot under and it's going to open and show me this rather cavernous inside where I've got plenty of space. I've even got a little extra space underneath the board here. Not a lot, but enough for my cables and other things that I need to haul around. There's no frunk. There never was in any BMW, so I'm not even going to bother to look on this one. So the outside of this car looks very much like a classic BMW. It even has got this fake grille. There's nothing here but plastic. They could do something else with it, but they do like this kidney shape up at the front. We've got LED lights, not the laser lights that some BMW has. I'm sure you can get them if you pay extra. We have some small air intakes here that improve the airflow down the side and make sure that there's not too much of air vortexes going around these 19-inch rims. Paint color is quite a curious one. It's difficult to see, but it's actually grey, greenish. Yeah, funny choice. Overall, it's hard to make any interesting comments about the exterior of this car. It looks very much like a standard BMW X1 in this case, or many other BMW X series cars that we've seen over time. But it's not particularly ugly and it's not particularly pretty. And if you want to go drive a car that people won't say, "Ooh, look at that electric car," then maybe this is a choice for you. Supposedly we can do 471 according to WLTP standard, but you know, on highways we're going to do significantly less. It's only normal. It took me a while to actually reset the trip computer here. I have to go into the menu, vehicle, live vehicle, and here I've got the individual settings. Then I can reset it so I can see how far I can actually drive and how much, what the efficiency actually is. We're going to do the test now. I have 96% battery. I've got the highway right here. We're going to be driving at 120 kilometers now because that's the maximum allowed speed limit here in Spain. And we're going to drive east. And then when we get to half the battery, we're going to turn around and drive back to charge up. Let's go. All right, we're out on the highway and I'm doing 120 kilometers now. Actually, according to the car, I'm doing 122, but I checked with the high precision GPS and that's exactly the same as 120 real kilometers per hour. I'm using the drive mode called efficient. There's no normal, so I can't really use a standard mode. There's efficient, expressive, relax, digital, art, personal, and sport. I don't know what half of those mean. I understand sport and efficient, so I guess I'm not doing sports, I'm doing efficient. It doesn't take away any of the climate controls or any of the comfort inside the car, because for that I have an additional maximum range mode, which will reduce speed to 95 kilometers an hour and take away heating and climate options, etc. I definitely don't want to do that. I'm not driving a nice BMW to be uncomfortable. So nothing left for me to do but put on an audiobook and go for a couple of hours this way, turn around and go back and see how far we can go. Put a comment down below. What do you think it'll do? How many miles? How many kilometers? Let's see who gets closer. Don't cheat. Don't wait until the end. I am using the adaptive cruise control and the lane keep assist, or what they call the Pilot Pro or something like that. Professional Driving Assistance Pro or something. It is a fantastic system, probably the best in the industry. I can do lane changes. It adapts to the traffic. It adapts to circumstances. It slows down before roundabouts. Marvelous. I'm going to talk more about that later on. BMW never cease to amaze me at how much efficiency they can get out of an electric car like this. Now, this has the aerodynamics of a brick. It's tall and it's square and everything. Yet, I'm only using 19.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That is 197 watt hours per kilometer, which is, better than many sedans, honestly. And this is a big, heavy car. I don't know how they do it. I mean, it's magic. BMW just, like some other brands, like specifically Tesla, they're very, very good at extracting or being very efficient with the energy they have in their batteries. Maybe it's the motors, maybe it's the batteries, maybe it's the whole system. I don't know what it is, but they're really, really good at it. And this isn't the only BMW I've seen this on. I've tried the i4, which is a sedan, and it's super efficient as well, taking into account the size and the power it has. Same thing with the BMW iX, one of the longest range electric vehicle out there, despite having the aerodynamics of this truck I'm just driving by here. And they've done it again with this one, the iX1. Super efficient, 19.7. And I'm doing 120 kilometers an hour. This is actual highway speed. Very good, very good. I mean, even with a relatively small battery, 66 kilowatt hours on a SUV, a big squarish SUV, I'm going to get really good range out of this. We finished the range test. I've driven a total of 281 kilometers, but I still have 9% left on the battery. I started out having 96%. So that 4% plus this 9% is 13%. If we add that up to the 281 kilometers, we get to 323 kilometers. 323, that's our total range. Not bad at all. And the way that this car achieves that range is by being efficient. Even though it's a brick in shape, it's only spent 19.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I've done the test in 2.5 hours and I've driven 281 kilometers. That means that I've driven 112 kilometers per hour on average. That's a really good number for such a test. So great results for this car, I'd say. I mean, I'm really positively surprised. It's now 15 degrees outside, which of course helps a little bit on the range, but still, those are good numbers. Let's do the charging test. So if we wanted to do another 200 kilometers of highway driving, we need to charge 38.2 kilowatt hours. We're going to do that now using this Thunder charger. There's a high-speed charger, 360 kilowatts. It'll definitely do more than the car. Let's plug in and see how it does. So as always, there's plenty of ways I can pay at a Thunder charger. I can use a credit card, I can use my phone, I can use a RFID, all sorts of other stuff. I think they have like 5 different ways of paying. So I've identified myself using the app and the QR code, and it's literally going so fast I don't have time to do the speech now. We're now charging at 126 kilowatts. That's not bad. I believe the maximum for this car is 130, and I guess we'll get there in a second or two. Here's a silly little detail that's maybe not so silly about this charge port. Of course, we've got the big outer flap, but then we've got 2 little individual flaps, one for when we use CCS and one for when we only use the Type 2 connection. And it's nice to have these little flaps here instead of having others which have like rubbers on strings that they then hang out and then you have to like fiddle them in and all that. I know it's a silly little detail, but it's those little silly details that really get under your skin when you use the car day to day. We've also got a button here to let go of the cable. Some cars, it's like you have to fiddle with the key and do a double key press and you have to turn it off inside or whatever. Here you can just push a button here. Of course, if the car's locked, you can't push the button. So I actually missed the time it took to do the first 100 kilometers. It's now charged 22 kilowatt hours in about 11 and a half minutes. So the first 100 kilometers in less than 10 minutes. Look at this. There you go. That's how you charge. So inside the car, we can't really see too much information. We see the current charging speed, how much time I need to stay here until I reach 100%, current charging percentage or how much battery energy I have. I can't see how much energy I've charged in the last session. I can't really see how long time I need to stay here until I have enough to go to my next destination. Okay, but not great like everything else. Come on, BMW, I'm getting used to greatness, not okayness. I do want to thank Thunder for collaborating with me on these videos. I think it's really important to have reliable, fast charging networks in a country as big as Spain. And Thunder right now has more than 100 stations, and they're coming to other countries as well. Check them out. If you're traveling through Spain, as many of you I know are, it's a great holiday destination, you might want to download the Thunder app or get a Thunder card. You can charge here, or you can charge in many other compatible stations because they've got roaming access as well. Here we are, 38.2 kilowatt hours charge in just 24 minutes and 20 seconds. So 24 minutes and 20 seconds is how long time you need to stop between charges when you're doing a long road trip with the BMW iX1. That's really not bad. Let's see how this does trip planning. It's not enough to have quick charging and big battery. I need to know where and how and when to charge. So let's say I want to go to Amsterdam. So the GPS calculates the route. It takes a while because Amsterdam is literally like 20 hours drive away or something like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a trip. But as you will see shortly, there you go. It plans the trip and it does it extremely well. So when I get the trip information here, oh, by the way, it thinks I need to take this exit, so it's going to slow me down. This is the driver assistance feature is doing that. Perfect. It really, really helps the driver a lot. So this is the absolute perfection in EV charge planning. It'll tell me the entire route, where I have to charge, what's the service station I have to stop at, how fast the chargers are there, what percentage of battery I'll have when I get there, and how long time I have to sit there and wait for it to charge. BMW, you've outdone yourself. This is absolute perfection. This is what you need as an EV driver. More than a big battery and a fast charger, you need something that'll help you plan so that I know now perfectly well where I can go, how far I can go, how long time it'll take me to get there. And I don't need to worry about it or use apps or phones or anything. I just tell the GPS and it'll do it for me, as it should be. Wonderful. I have various driving modes that I can access by pushing this button here, and I have personal, sport, efficient, so far so good, expressive, relax, and digital art. What kind of a driving mode is digital art? Quantum Garden una obra, what is that? I don't know. Though there is one thing I do understand, and that is if I go to my mode and put it in sport. Yeah. Because we know what sport driving is, right? Aside from that, I have 2 forward gear positions. I've got D and B, B for additional regenerative braking. So let me put that on. Let me show you. I also have an auto hold button, which I just leave on. It's just easier, isn't it? And now I'm doing, let's just do it slowly, 20 kilometers an hour. I let go of the accelerator and it immediately comes to a full stop. Excellent. So the BMW iX1 has one pedal driving and it works really, really well. It's a pleasure to drive with that, especially in cities, because you don't really need anything but an accelerated pedal. They can just get rid of the brakes, really. You only really need the brakes if something jumps out in front of you. And that's much more relaxing. Not that people jumping out in front of you, but to drive without having to shift between 2 pedals all the time. One of the most remarkable things about this car is the quality of driving, the quality and pleasure of the driving experience. I know this sounds like some BS that, auto journalists just say, but honestly, I'm so isolated from the exterior. It's just such a pleasant place to be, and there's no noise, I don't know how to describe it. The suspension is just great for this kind of driving. It's silent, it's comfortable, it's sporty and secure as well. It's just high quality driving. And this is something that if you buy a BMW, you drive a BMW, you will know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, it's kind of hard to convey it because it's more of a sensation and feeling I get from it more than an actual physical thing. But it's just such a nice drive, So let's test the acceleration. I use a Draghi, a high precision GPS, which is placed on top of the car. And it'll send a signal to my phone. And with that, we can, with very, very high precision, know what the 0 to 100 time is. So let's do that. By the way, I have a lever here that says boost. It's good because if I'm in eco mode, I can just pull that and it'll give me, top acceleration for the car just for a minute or two, which is great, just for overtaking. I want to try this as well now that we're doing the acceleration test. Done a few tests now, and here's the best one. 8.41. Officially, it's supposed to be 8.3. This is 8.41. 0.1 seconds slower. Honestly, I've got 65% battery. That might be the cause. That's a valid result. So surprisingly, BMW has only seen it fit to put 204 horsepower into this car, and they put it to the front wheels. Not the best setup in my opinion, and certainly not for BMW. So this is definitely more of a comfort driver than it is a sporty car. However, I have been in plenty of other cars with exactly 204 horsepower and front wheel drive, because it's a very, very common configuration for electric vehicles. And this one just feels a little bit more sporty, feels a little bit more grippy. It's a little bit more flat in curves. And it does feel aggressive when you accelerate, even though the official time isn't actually any faster than so many other on the market. So now maybe it's the response, maybe it's the chassis. It drives really well. That said, it's not a sporty BMW. It's an okay-ish accelerating family SUV BMW. I do like the driving modes. I do like how the regenerative braking works. Actually, that is much more important in a day-to-day driving experience in a car like this than 0 to 100, right? Listen to that. Proper BMW sound, right? I know it's silly, but you will enjoy that sound every time you get into this car. And this car has a very nice interior. I've got a big chunky steering wheel. I got this leathery stuff everywhere, nice material, really well designed. And I've got space. I've got loads of headroom. I've got loads of space in front of me. It's very wide. It's nice. It's a proper BMW in here. Actually, I have quite good rear visibility through the mirror here. I've got great visibility out the side of this thing. Yeah, it's an excellent space to be inside here. In fact, it's funny because if you look at the car from the outside, I know it's like an X series, but it's the iX1. It's the smallest one of them all. I've driven the iX3 quite a few times, and even the iX, the one that has no number after it, but it's like the biggest one of them all. And this one feels almost as big on the inside as the others. Of course, it's quite a lot smaller on the outside. It's only 4 meters 50 long. So it fits easily in my garage. That's good. It's like a TARDIS, bigger on the inside than on the outside. Good stuff. The seats are nice and grippy, as I would expect from BMW. They've been perforated, so they're a bit more comfortable. However, this big, fantastic steering wheel and these great seats, there's no heating or cooling in them. That is an extra. And that's a theme with BMW. You look at the price point and say, oh, it's not too expensive, but then you start adding up all the extras you need in order to get it well equipped or equipped equivalent to other alternatives. And you find out that you got to spend quite a lot on packages or individual options just to get it just the way you want it. I guess the good thing about it is you can get a BMW, fits just your wants and your needs. And the bad thing is that it's more expensive, I guess. Technology-wise, we have 2 screens sort of divided here just where the steering wheel blocks my view, but otherwise I have very, very good visibility to them. This one's a touchscreen, this one is not. It's great. I have a very advanced system here with loads of options. And when I say loads, I mean loads. Let me show you what I mean here. There's so many here that if you scroll through all of them, you have to actually divide them into subjects, because if not, you just get absolutely lost and it's just totally overwhelming and you wouldn't be able to find anything on it there. Aircon controls are a bit wonky. Even if I set them to auto, then I can turn it up and turn it down there. But if I get all the way down, I get a message saying that you can't turn it off if it's in auto. And sometimes it even puts up like an error message there. Come on, get rid of that. And then I have to untick auto. And now I can turn it on and off or up or down vertically. So it completely changes the interface from this vertical to this horizontal. And I don't know why. It's just silly, isn't it? I would have liked to have heated seats, and I would have liked to have ventilated seats. I live in Spain. It's hot down here. UK might not be bothered about it. what Spain is. Aside from that, I have a phone charger here. That way I can put my phone, and there's a little plasticky thing to hold onto it, which is okay. Gear shifter here, volume controls, and a few key buttons. That's all good. And this armrest here has the smallest little, let me show you, has the smallest little space down here. You can probably fit, I don't know, one chicken drumstick or something like that down there. You certainly can't fit a phone or anything, maybe some coins. I don't know, not really sure what that's about. There's a lot more space down here, and it's easy to access, except if you're from this side, because this piece of plastic there. Why would they put that there? But overall, it's very nice in here. It's a proper BMW. One thing I really like about this is that I have Apple CarPlay, and I have Apple CarPlay without having to plug in, which is great. I really enjoy that. It's wonderful to go to a new car and you can just use whatever thing you have on your phone, and it's much, much easier than going in and learning all sorts of new systems. Aside from that, the GPS works really well. It plans your routes, it plans your stops and everything for you. In fact, it's one of the best to do that, and it's something that I find really, really important. I can electronically move my seat, but my co-pilot can't. They have to do it manually. Haha. I also have a couple of buttons here just to save my seating positions if we want to change those. But other than that, it's not too full of buttons. It's not too bad in here. The steering wheel also has the nice right amount of buttons on it. Not too many, but not too little. By the way, aside from the two screens, I also have a heads-up display, which works great and shows me just the information I want. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit in the back and see if I can actually fit in there. Inside the BMW iX1, I'm sitting behind the seat as it would be adjusted to my personal driving position. I'm 1.90 meters, that's 6'4", so quite a tall person, I'm told, and yet I can still fit comfortably behind myself. In fact, one of the tricks that they do here is that the seat has sort of a denture inside to fit your knees in, so there's a little bit extra knee room. Very good, I like that. I also have plenty of headroom, and it's quite wide. You can tell how wide it is if I drop this one here down, and you can see it's actually quite a lot of space here for the armrest. I've got two cup holders here, I've got two USB-C ports down there. I think we could sit three people next to each other. However, the person sitting in the middle will have to contend with having their feet a little bit out to the sides, because there is a little bit of a transmission tunnel there. It's only this tall, but there's also a plastic tray down there, so you can't actually put your feet there in the middle. I guess it's something that the iX1 inherits from the X1, which, you know, it's built on the same platform. Headrests are adjustable. I can adjust the height of all three of them. I can even adjust the height of the headrest on the front seats. Don't know why lately all new cars come with single piece seats in the front. I like better when you can actually adjust them, because I'm tall, and if not, they're too low for me very often, and that's not the safest thing in the world in case of a crash. It's a nice place back here, plenty of space. I could comfortably travel here. Only thing I would ask for would be a glass roof to give this open sky feeling when you're traveling in the back seat, which is really, really nice. And I think you can get it in this car. I believe it's an option that costs around 1,500 euros. So good space in the front, good space in the back. Feels like a nice piece of kit. This car is equipped with BMW's Driving Assistance Professional, and is one of the best driving assistance systems in the world, at least in the geographies and the countries where we're not allowed to use anything way beyond level 2 autonomous driving systems. So this will keep me in the lane, and it'll maintain my speed according to traffic, according to speed limit, and according to circumstances. So if there's a sharp curve coming up, it will also slow down for that. It does it really well. It calculates the speed exceptionally well. Look at this. Now we're coming up on some roadworks. So speed limit here is 100, dynamically set by these temporary signs, and the car actually alerted me to that. No, I do not want to change lane right now. And it's read the sign again saying that, do you want to go down to 80, which is the speed limit here with the roadworks. Fantastic. So not only does it use the GPS to set the speed, it also reads the signs, and it'll adjust to those as well. It will, in fact, reduce the speed before I even get to the actual sign, in order to avoid me hitting a construction zone with high speed, or running into a speed camera that they usually put like half a meter after they change the speed to something less than what I was doing. Been there, done that. So as I was saying, it adjusts the speeds dynamically to the road condition, to the traffic ahead, to the sign, to the GPS. It does it also not only on highways, it does it on secondary roads as well. It even uses the GPS system. So if the GPS has a route where it knows that I need to turn around and take an exit, it will slow down before I get to that particular exit. Absolutely excellent. So the speed dynamically adjusts to a ton of different circumstances. It does it quite smooth. It's never any harsh acceleration or deceleration for it. What you might also be able to see is that I'm using just the blinkers for turning into another lane. So say, for example, I keep my hand on the steering wheel, but when I put it on, it changes over in this lane, and it does it by itself. And I can see it will do it because I have up on the heads-up display a little green indicator that shows me that it's going to do it now. So yeah, really good communication with the driver. Aside from that, there's also two little lights here on the steering wheel, which will turn on. If I do not grab onto the steering wheel, you can see they go like yellow and then they'll turn red. I better touch it now. By the way, it doesn't detect me by force. It detects me by capacitive induction here. Wonderful. I just have to caress it lightly and it'll know I'm here taking care of it. That's really nice. Fantastic. Means I can just sit here with my hands on the steering wheel quite relaxed, and I don't have to like slightly twist it to one side or the other. This is also because it's not just a strict stay in the lane locked system, it's actually collaborative. So for example, if you're driving and there's a pothole or a dead cat on the road and you want to sort of adjust your position within the lane, you can do that without the system turning off. Other systems, if you try to jerk the wheel a little bit, then they will disengage and then you are suddenly driving. Now here I can collaborate with the system and it works really well.
Let's dive into the final scoring. We had a good test despite the cool temperatures and achieved a range of 323 kilometers. The average speed was 112 kilometers per hour, making it one of the highest speed tests we've conducted. This range, combined with a relatively low consumption for an SUV, earns the iX1 6 points in range and efficiency. Charging. To charge up to 200 kilometers of range based on the test conducted, it took us 24 minutes and 20 seconds. This is a good time considering the maximum charge speed is only 130 kilowatts. This is due to two factors. Firstly, the car is relatively efficient, consuming less than 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and secondly, it maintains a relatively high charging curve for a long time, allowing us to save time. This would give it 7 points, but additionally, you can adjust speed, schedule the charging, and fundamentally plan a route with charging stops, estimated percentages on arrival, and much more, making traveling in this car a delight, and therefore we increase it to 8 points. It only lacks bidirectional charging. Performance and handling. This one clearly lacks the sportiness that characterizes BMW. It has front-wheel drive and accelerates in 8.3 seconds to 100 per hour, so slow that I nearly need a calendar instead of a clock to measure it. It's a pity and somewhat atypical for the brand, but if we ignore the acceleration, the driving is pleasant, the suspension is firm without being uncomfortable, and the regenerative braking can be perfectly adjusted. So instead of the 4 points I was thinking of giving it, I increase it to 5. Interior and quality. The iX1 is like a TARDIS, small on the outside and large on the inside. Seeing it gave me the impression of a really big car, and only when I parked it in my garage did I realize it was much more spacious on the inside than it seemed and much smaller on the outside. The interior space is impressive and comfortable. Perhaps the materials are not as high quality as in some of its larger brand siblings, but they are totally adequate. And with a 490-litre trunk, we have space for everything. I give it 8 points in interior and quality. Exterior and design. Looking at the car, it doesn't particularly catch my attention, and perhaps that's a quality. It has the proportions and classic design of a BMW SUV. Therefore, in terms of aesthetics, I give it a 5, but it's very practical and I like that it maintains the classic style of the brand. So I'll give it an extra point and bump it up to 6. Technology. With 2 screens and a heads-up display, you're always well informed about everything happening inside the BMW. Plus, its camera system from all angles perfectly assists with parking, and if you get confused with the 1,000 applications and somewhat complicated system, you can always connect your phone and use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay wirelessly. I give it 7 points in technology. Driving assistance. BMW's driving assistants are the best on the market. They detect the driver and communicate perfectly. They adjust the vehicle within the lane, performing automatic lane changes, and preemptively adjust the speed changes with sign reading. This assistant is everything the Tesla Autopilot wishes it to be here in Europe. I give it 8.5 points. Price. Rating the price of the BMW iX1 is quite complicated as there is a lot of competition in the SUV space of this size. Looking at SUVs between 440 and 460 meters, we find ourselves in the economical range within, for example, a Kia e-Niro and a Volkswagen ID.4, both priced well below the BMW. And perhaps we should look at brands known for selling the quality we also expect from BMW. Thus perhaps more aligned with the Audi Q4 or Volvo XC40. The Audi is somewhat more expensive than the BMW and the Volvo XC40 is very similarly priced. The price of the BMW iX1 between 46,000 and 56,000 euros seems surprisingly reasonable, and if you're careful with the extras, you can get a good deal. Therefore, I give it 7 points in the price category. Taking into account the weight of each category and multiplying them, we arrive at a final score of 68 out of 100 points in the electric exam. Remember, if you want to compare this result with other vehicles, you can do it on the website we have linked in the description below.
And there you have it. That is the BMW iX1, and there are plenty of good reasons to choose this car. Specifically, I like the quality that we get for this price point in a BMW. It's very nice to drive. There's plenty of space on the inside, and it's actually quite a good travel car. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. I've been Lars, and you've been watching Totally Electric.